Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, right here in good old Flora, Mississippi. Hope everyone is having a great day so far. It's a beautiful day outside. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We are joined today by our friend, former representative and future something, I'm sure, Mr. Nick Vane. How are you,
Hey,
Nick?
Lindsay, thanks for having me. It's always good to visit with you and to talk what's going on in Mississippi politics and Mississippi in general. So thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. I told him last night, I said, look, is there any sort of special announcement that might need to be made or something? He said, maybe around May, we'll see.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Stay
hopefully,
stay tuned.
stay
We're
tuned.
we're very active, and if people who follow Mississippi politics follow me around, so I'm very active and looking forward to the future.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. I spoke last night and the Pike County Republican groups. Thank you to them for having me. I know, Nick, you've been kind of traveling and speaking to different
hmm
groups and different people and keeping an eye on everything that's happening here in the state. What do you think about this legislative session so far?
This is the 15th one that I've sort of had a role in some respect, whether being a member and now being consulting for different groups, kind of watching it, and it's there's a lot of a loggerhead, so to speak, I guess, between the Senate and the House on a lot of different issues, and it's weird to say because everybody is Republican. I say everybody, but the majority of people are
I don't know
Republicans,
about that lieutenant
and
governor.
try to get well, you try to get along, I guess, but sometimes I guess things in terms of get too big and a lot of different factions break out and different people pull in different ways. So I understand how that works, and I understand that the speaker and the lieutenant governor have 174 people to deal with, which can be complicated. But it has been a session, to answer your question, it has been a session that certainly um, has been different in a lot of respects in regards to just the willingness to cooperate on some issues that you think would be pretty simple issues.
Pretty easy to compromise on.
hmm
I've never seen it happen the way that it did this session with day one in the Senate going in and pushing something through committee and the floor
hmm
immediately.
hmm
I've never seen that happen before. And I think there's been a lot of tit for tat.
Yeah, certainly. And look, I got a lot of friends over there. I understand why they do things the way they do, and there's been a lot of issues that, for example, I know the school choice bill that the Senate took up and spent all of 90 seconds on debating it in committee.
There was
Uh,
no debate, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a bill. Whether you're for school choice or against school choice, we owe it. I always have said it is a deliberative body with the
Mhm.
emphasis on deliberative, and
It was a slap in the face, I
those are
felt like.
issues that I think people want to talk about and see. But I understand every like I tell people all the time, every job, every industry has politics involved. Whether you're a school teacher, whether you're in a hospital, there are always people dealing with different personalities, and the legislature is no different.
Yeah, that's a lot of different
A
personalities
lot of
in
different,
in one
yeah.
room. And I think obviously the school choice issue being so in your face, kind of being such a hot topic at the beginning of session, I think it just kind of set the tone for the entire session that it was going to be a battle. And I don't know if that has helped anybody very much, but
Well, even before then, Lindsay, you remember, I mean, the speaker pretty much went on a tour of Mississippi talking about school choice and talking about how he was going to make this an agenda item, if agenda is the right word, but this was going to
mhm,
be a priority for his chamber
right.
to pass it. Whether you're for it or against it, he certainly made it clear and gave everybody notice that they're going to talk about school choice this year and pass and try to pass something. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what they tried to do. Um,
What do you think about big omnibus bills, the way that they kind of dropped the HB2 bill?
that's as you know, and as your listeners do, because they're smart. That's how the federal Congress does most things. Is they
Mhm.
do a big omnibus bill where they put a lot of stuff in there.
Like the big beautiful bill.
They put a lot of stuff in there. Same thing with this bill. There was stuff in here that had to do with teachers individually, had the Tim Tebow Act in there,
Mhm.
had different type of individual bills that could have stood alone.
Prayer in school.
Right.
There was a lot of different
Right.
things.
And I never really had an issue with doing that as a legislator, because it always it was easier, I guess, to pass stuff like that. It was easier to get it through. And if legislation and making legislation is supposed to be hard, that's the way it is.
Right.
Typically, there's about
And
four.
it is.
Typically, there's about 4,000 bills filed a year in the Mississippi legislature, and of those 4,000, about 300 become law, and of that 300, half of those are your budget bills, and then another 50 to so are repealer bills that you have to extend a law on. So typically, you're going to have about 100 new laws, maybe, that become
Mhm.
new laws.
Mhm.
So it's supposed to be hard and it's supposed to be difficult. So if you can try to pass a bill that has a lot of issues that people are for, and it makes it easier to get that through one piece of legislation, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I understand why they do it. Um, to try to help pass what is more controversial, they put stuff in there that's not as controversial to help people
Mhm.
get it passed. I understand that, and I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Just because it helps to expedite the process.
One thing that was said a lot, and I think there was some confusion, and of course, I think recently our governor's statements have kind of made this even more confusing. But it was said prior to session that the House would attempt to tie teacher pay raise to school choice. Now, that
Mhm.
did not happen
Mhm.
in the big HB Education Freedom Bill. HB2, there was an assistant teacher pay raise, but the House did produce a standalone teacher pay raise bill. So, but I think there was confusion because that was said so much, and we've even had some senators come out and say that that was the case, and that's just not true. But we have had our governor come out recently and say, I'm not against calling a special session where we do link the two together, where we do have school choice and teacher pay raise that are tied together. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
and I just left the Capitol here, this morning, and there is, some scuttlebutt and rumors about a special session, whether it be school choice, teacher pay, whatever it may be. Uh, and that's a very real possibility. There's even talk about doing what they call a special session within a
And
session,
right.
which is, the governor has the constitutional ability to call a special session on a specific issue. And if you're in session, you would basically gavel out of the regular session and go into the special session. There's some talk about doing that. There's also some talk about going back and forth. I understand talking with people that there may be uh, people may be some disagreements among the budget, whether with different budgets within the state, Medicaid, MDOC. Some of those budgets have to
Mhm.
be passed, and maybe a disagreement that the legislators may be far apart between the House and the Senate on those. If that's the case, and we did that when I was there, we didn't have a transportation budget one year, and we had to come back and finish it. If that's the case, maybe, the governor's like, "Well, they gotta come back anyway and finish this, so I'll bring them back then and do special session and let them get as close to getting finished as possible." Those issues have happened before. But certainly there is a lot of talk among the legislators, a lot of talk among the staff and people at the Capitol crowd, if you will,
So a lot
uh
of people think it might actually happen.
about a school choice, special session. I certainly think that there's a lot of talk about it.
I'm personally, obviously, am for that.
Mhm.
I think that as Governor Reeves is kind of winding up his time as our governor, I think he's going to be remembered if he gets this done as someone who was able to get it done.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of people voicing concern about it or they are against it, but I wholeheartedly believe if he gets it done, people see the sky's not falling, parents realize that they actually do have more options, and this is in fact a good thing. I think that he'll in the long run be remembered as somebody who was able to get something great done.
Yeah. In my 12 years in the legislature and now 3 years on the outside looking in, education's always been a priority. So education's always been a topic of discussion. When I first got here, we was the beginning of the charter school movement. We
Mhm.
passed it into the what's now called the Mississippi Miracle, that came from the third grade reading gate and
Mhm.
stuff such as that. Um, it's always been a priority, and it's always been an issue. I live in Northeast Mississippi, where it's one of the most ruby red places of the state, that vote for Donald Trump at an 80% clip, but they don't understand school choice. They have a hard time with school choice. You were just up there, and a little bit in Oxford. I know our good friend Leah was up there Monday night in Tupelo,
I was with her.
talking about it. So it's an issue in Northeast Mississippi where I'm from that we all we have is really public schools, and everybody loves their public schools. So what I would say to people on both sides, really, and this is probably more so on the public education and the establishment with those people, I would tell them if they were asking for my advice, and they're not, but it's free, so it is it's worth what it's worth. I
And
guess,
you are a lawyer. So.
yeah, but what I would say is, I would tell them to start getting their ducks in a row and to find something that they can live with, because I believe that in the next couple of years you're going to have a turnaround in leadership.
It's going to happen
in the Senate,
whether you like it or not.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, right now you have the seat at the table. Right now you have the ability to talk. You may not have that in a couple of years.
That's a very good point, Nick. It really is.
And I would encourage them to start looking at what they can live with.
Those are wise words, I do believe, because like you said, there is going to be a change in leadership. And what we have seen is that every single one of our, maybe other than Delbert Hosemann, statewide leaders have come out in support of school choice, most of them pretty strongly. They very much believe that this would be a good thing for Mississippi. And we're seeing every state around us has passed these measures already. One thing that keeps being brought up with the people who are against it is the accountability factor. And when I debated Nancy Loom a few weeks ago, that's one thing I mentioned is, our public schools really being held accountable now? And I brought up the Corinth situation. You guys over in Corinth had this big scandal, I guess you could call it. And you have one of the highest paid superintendents in the state who found out that there was pornographic videos and images being made of middle school students by a teacher and didn't act. He didn't, in my opinion, act nearly quickly enough.
And I think that's everybody's opinion, that there wasn't he didn't act. Whether he acted in accordance with the statute, whether he acted in accordance with the law, that'll be a question for a jury to determine. He has been indicted on some of those charges and indicted for that. But yes, that's exactly what you said. Is the question among the people in Corinth is, did he act properly, and did he act in enough time?
Right.
And so accountability is always a problem with our school districts. It's always a problem with really anything in government, and that and being accountable is, I think, the most paramount thing that we can do as elected officials with taxpayers' dollars. There's nothing more special and nothing more precious than the taxpayer's dollar and how that's used with government. And I believe in 3 core tenets. I've told you this before, that it is the government's position to protect its citizens, to educate its citizens, and to provide a environment that's conducive to growth. The second one of those, educating our children, I think, is, or even our populace, not even just the children, not limited it to children, but to educate people. That is a core function of government, and to make sure that they're getting that education and not being adhered to some type of agenda is paramount with taxpayers' monies.
Absolutely. And probably more than most people, that appropriations, that's kind of the last thing can be agreed upon during the legislative session, is how much we're going to give to education. Because, in the past 10 years, we've increased that by billions, while we also see a reduction in the number of students that we're educating. So, it's like, when is enough enough?
Yeah. And I say this from the point of as you know, my wife is in public education, and I was
librarian.
I was educated in the public school, so I come this from that standpoint. I come from an area of the state where that's all we have is public school, so I get it. But nobody's exempt from corruption. Nobody's exempt from bad actors, and your point to accountability is exactly spot on. We have to be accountable. Every group of state government has to be accountable.
Absolutely. I completely 1,000,000% agree. Accountable to the taxpayers, and then also our schools, accountable to the parents, because you're educating their child. I gotta take a break, but there's so much more that's being discussed in this legislative session, things that they are battling over there at the Capitol. So I know the PBM reform, there was a statement from the White House this morning, and that's got some people ready to roll. So we'll talk to Nick about what he heard about that over at the Capitol this morning and his thoughts on the whole entire PBM reform issue. So y'all stay with us. We will be right back here, WIB 1039, The Lindsey Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our Sweet the Swamp Pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a Sweet the Swamp Pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Here's John and Corey Ravenstein to announce a very special bridal event.
If you're getting married soon, I want to personally invite you to Juniker's annual Bridal and Wedding Ring Show.
It's going on now through Saturday, April 4th at Juniker Jewelry Company.
Come shop the largest selection in the state of diamond engagement rings and ultimate wedding bands from our top designers.
Buy your diamond engagement ring during the show and get up to $500 credit towards both of your wedding bands.
Buy your wedding rings and enjoy free engraving inside your rings. And free layaway until the wedding with no finance charges.
Plus, enjoy 12 months, no interest financing for qualified buyers.
Save some money.
Upgrade that honeymoon.
The Bridal and Wedding Ring event at Juniker Jewelry Company.
3 big weekends now through Saturday, April 4th.
We'll see you there.
Juniker Jewelry Company. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and online at junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repaired? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk. Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. here on 1039 WYAB. Join us every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here on 1039 WYAB each Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m.
Come together right now over me.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. I was just telling Nick, our guest here, former Representative Nick Bain, that there has just been announced another school choice debate. I think we're having like one a week. And this one is going to be in Rankin County. And there's actually going to be two panels of 5. So there's a panel of pro school choice and then a panel of those against school choice. Now, on the panel in favor will be Representative Jansen Owen, of course, Leah Ferretti, who's the executive director of Mississippi Ready, Russ Latino, who is from the Magnolia Tribune, Gerard Gibbert, who has his own radio show on that other station, and then myself. And the opposed will be Representative Fred Shanks. Shame on you, Fred. Shame on you. I kid. He's my buddy. Nancy Loom, Darren Spann, who's the president of the Mississippi Association of Educators, Jamie Creel, I think y'all heard him this morning with Clay, if you were listening, and then Marielle Long, who's a former educator and parent. So should be very interesting. It will take place next Thursday, March 26th at 5:30, from 5:30 to 7 in Pearl, Mississippi, at the Pearl Community Room. I'm not sure where that is, but I'm sure that a GPS can get you there. So Nick, you have to come.
Yeah,
Come watch this one.
I will put it on my calendar, and certainly try to be there. That's a lot of friends talking and a lot of friends arguing. So, as a lawyer, we do that a lot. So I will appreciate that. Certainly, school choice and public school. There's been a lot of debate, and that will continue, I believe. And that's how we're set up as a country, is to debate and to find out what's best. So I applaud you and applaud everybody for getting out there and talking about these issues and not just sitting on your hands. I've told people when I've been speaking all over the state, we changed. You were a part of this. We changed the law that had to do with libraries and schools, that had to do with the databases, sexual explicit material being made available to kids. We did stuff that did with transgender and outlawing minor surgery for transgender surgery for minors.
The REAP Act.
That's right, the REAP Act. Those things came to us through people like you, came to us through people like the American Family Association, through Republican women. I'm an attorney that practices criminal law. My bailiwick is that stuff I like to do, is to tinker with the criminal code and do that stuff. Those aren't issues that were really at the front of mind for me. So people like you who come up and tell us, this stuff is important. This is what's going on in our schools.
Right.
This is what's going on in our state. We were spending upward to $10 million in transgender surgery for minors.
Yeah.
That was stuff that was, again, using taxpayers' money for probably something that was in large respects unnecessary. But those issues came to us from the public, just like what you're doing. So I applaud you for that, and challenge your listeners to not to be afraid to talk to the legislators or their elected officials, because believe it or not,
they do listen.
They do listen, and they don't know everything. Some may not admit that, but they don't know everything. And and if they do listen, and if your issue is meritorious, and I had somebody one time tell me they wanted to outlaw house cats. So you get some issues that aren't necessarily have good merit to them. But I say all that to say, don't be afraid to talk. And I appreciate your advocacy for a lot of different issues in Mississippi.
Well, thank you. No, and I appreciate you, because you were the chairman of the Judd B committee at the time, and that's where a lot of these bills went. And I really respect you for taking some of those up, because you didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool to see things playing out in real time, and the things that you've worked on actually changing things in the world today. And we've seen that happen with the bill, the database bill. Stuff has been removed because it wasn't appropriate. And I see stuff like that, and it just makes me proud to know that the everyday mom can get involved and change things. Your voice is powerful.
And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the largest pornography distributor in the world, Pornhub, is no longer in Mississippi because of the bill that we passed, and you had a lot to do with that. And that's to be applauded. That's the way the system should work.
Well, thank you, Clay. Clay wasn't so happy with me. Let's see. I think we had a Caller, are you there? I think they may have hung up. But yeah, and I urge everybody, you can't complain about what's going on in the world if you don't vote, number one, if you don't know who represents you and you don't form relationships with these people, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to make a difference is to talk to your lawmakers or run yourself. But you got to get out there and be involved. And especially if you're raising children in this world today, there's just so much.
I realize it. And I realize we live in a time where we get information overload, and there's a lot of information out there, but we also live in probably the easiest time in history to learn about things.
That's right.
At their fingertips, literally.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time is when you get these mailers in the mail, don't just believe everything you hear or read about a candidate, because everybody's got it right there in their hands. You can do the research yourself. You can fact check things yourself. Don't wait on somebody to spoon feed you and do it for you. Like that's what the government system that we have was meant to do. Government for the people, by the people, and you've got to take some responsibility in making sure that you research these candidates and get out and vote and know what issues are important to you and where they stand.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the very basis of our republic. So
yeah. So Nick, was there a lot of talk about the PBM reform issue?
I think that's really that, and some of the stuff that I've seen, there's a lot of talk about that, what's going to happen with it. And of course, PBM is pharmacy benefit managers, which is like Walgreens, CVS, and I don't want to be too generic about that, but basically it's the way that I understand that pharmacy is reimbursed, the way they're paid through these PBM managers, how pharmacists and big pharmacies and independent pharmacists get paid. So there's always been a bill. I handled it for 3 years in a row. I handled the PBM bill in the House. And over the course of my last 4 years, Lindsay, I think I handled about 130 bills on the House floor. And yeah, I handled a lot.
That's a lot of fighting.
That is. And they're not all fighting, but it's a lot of bills. But of those 130, I did the PBM bill 3 times, and there was no other bill, I promise you, that I studied more for than PBM, trying to understand it. And a lot of that's just me being dumb, but a lot of that is just how complicated and complex that is.
I was telling you, I was listening yesterday to the Senate debate because it got a little heated and it was long and I had not had a chance to listen to all of it, but it is if you're not in the weeds of it, it is very hard to understand what they're talking about.
So, and basically the way I understand it is there was an amendment added to the House bill that created, in very, very generic terms, created a dispensing fee on every single prescription pill that will be filled in Mississippi. Is that right?
That's, from how I understand it, that's what the amendment would do. Now, there was a bill prior to that the House had passed. It's over to the Senate. And
the essence of that dispensing fee is to try to bring your independents who get paid at a lower threshold than your bigger pharmacies like Walgreens, CVS. They get paid at a different rate, and so they're trying to bring some balance and equity into that.
We've seen, I think, 55 hometown local pharmacies have to close their doors because of it.
So they're trying to figure out some type of marriage between that two. And so they added this dispensing fee. It's the way I understand it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But just the short research that I've looked at it. So they've added this dispensing fee on every single prescription out there that will be dispensed. And of course, you have people who have weighed in and saying that this is going to drive up drug cost, which it certainly looks like it will if you're adding this to this. I know the White House has chimed in.
That was a recent development.
This happened last night. Trump's administration came down and encouraged, basically where the bill is in the process. It was a House bill that went to the Senate bill and was amended to add this dispensing fee. I believe it was Senator Parks, Rita Parks, who was my senator, who added it. And there was a debate. It passed the Senate, and it now is back over to the House to be concurred on or to go to conference. If they concur on it, it goes to the governor, and it's law. If it goes to conference, it goes back for further negotiation and debate between the House and the Senate. In the context of that, the White House came out and said, don't concur, but to invite conference, which means to continue negotiation on it, if I understood the letter correctly. Basically saying exactly that. They felt like it was adverse to some of the president's
Pharmacy
reform and policies toward drugs for Americans. So that's where that's at. That will be a hot topic. I'm not in that enough to say what I would do, what I wouldn't do. Typically, I was always, if there was any, typically for me as a legislator where I came from, and I'm not saying this is what they should do, so I don't want to get lost in that, but I'm saying typically when I was a legislator and there was some type of issues like this that I felt like needed to be talked about more, I wouldn't send it to the governor. I would continue to debate it. But who knows what they'll do.
Yeah, and I think that was one thing that got a little contentious on the Senate floor is that Senator Jeremy England wanted to put a reverse repealer back in the bill, which would have kept that conversation going.
Right.
I know it's hard to understand some of the strike all and the reverse repealers and
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
just there's so much. But like you said, it's supposed to be hard to pass laws. My heart goes out for these independent small town pharmacies. I worked in one growing up all through high school and college, and they know the local people in the town. They'll sometimes get up in the middle of the night and come. You don't get that with the big box, big pharma pushers.
That's right, and you go to church with them, you see them at the ball field, you see them
They
all over the
sponsor the Little League
place.
teams.
That's right, and they so I get it. As a small town lawyer, I'm not in that industry, but I understand what they do, and I understand that how much they add to a local community. It's been an issue since I was here, at least since 2019, and now we're talking about it 7 years later, and really hadn't done much to it.
But
So
again, when you're looking at the taxpayers' dollars, you've got to be so responsible and make sure that you're making the right decisions.
that's right. That's right. So anyway, I'm hopeful that they will find some resolution that gets both sides. I will say that at the Capitol, there's a lot of interested parties all over between your big pharmacies, your independents. There's a lot of interested parties, and that's that's why
it's very heated right now. I would
and
say.
that's why your legislators are there to determine what's best for the state.
Absolutely. So I think it was Friday, Senator Chad McMahon called in to defend his vote because he voted against it. I think there were 9 of the
There was
all
some,
Republican. But he was one of the ones who voted against it. And I said, Chad, I almost feel like hell must have frozen over because especially this session, I never, ever thought I would see senators say, give us the House version back. Because we've just seen them go back and forth on so much with school choice and teacher pay raises. And so
PERS
does,
and all those issues. You're exactly right. It's been kind of a little bit of a sibling rivalry, if you will, between the two. So,
and when we look at how the income tax is being phased out, and yet we're wanting to give this big pay raise to teachers, and I mean, are we going to be able to afford all these things? So I get it. You've got to be responsible with what you're adding to that budget.
Yep, that's right, and that's arguably the most important thing that the legislature does is the budget for the state of Mississippi every year, and that's where we are in a session trying to determine out what is that budget going to look like, who's going to get cut, who's going to get more money, or who's going to get a project or not a project. So.
Do you think it would be smarter in Mississippi to move to a schedule of having appropriations done one session and then general bills the next?
Yeah, some states do it that way. Some states will do just a budget session where they pass just a budget and then they have a general and budget every other year or something like that. There's been talk about that since as long as I was here. I certainly, like I told you, I don't know that there's really a general law for the most part. There's always an exception, but for the most part, there's not really a general law that can't wait. So to say all that, the budget has to be done, and it must be done every year. If the legislature moved to where they only handle general bills every other year, certainly I think the state could suffice with that. Practically and realistically, I don't see that happening.
There's too many people like me who want what we want done now.
Yeah,
now.
And people are slow to change.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
So that's there's always been talk. As I don't see this happening either, but as a state, the state of Mississippi per capita has more legislators than states that are bigger than us. We have 174. Some states who are larger than us have less than that. So there's always been talk about reducing that number. But again, I don't see that happening either, because who would have to vote for that would be the legislators.
Right. They're not going to vote themselves out.
That's right. So, and I get it. I mean, I was there once too. I understand that. But so to your point, it's not a bad idea, but practically I don't ever see it happening.
That makes sense. Well, we got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here. I think Nick might have to get out of here, but he's a busy man, places to go, people to see. But we will be right back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, WYAB 103.9. Busy man, places to go, people to see. But we will be right back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, WYAB 103.9.
.1039 WYAB.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
CBS News Brief. The man President Trump has chosen to replace Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary was questioned today at a confirmation hearing where Senator Rand Paul accused Mark Wayne Mullen of having anger issues.
I have to address the remarks the chairman made, calling me a liar. Sir, I think everybody in this room knows that I'm very blunt and direct to the point. And if I have something to say, I'll say it directly to your face.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was at another hearing answering questions about Iran.
If a hostile regime survives, it will likely seek to begin a years-long effort to rebuild its military, missiles, and UAV forces.
Meteorologist Craig Allen is tracking dangerous heat in the West, and it could last days.
The heat will linger and continue to get more intense as we go through the rest of this week and into the weekend. And by the weekend, there will be hundreds and hundreds of record high temperatures set.
CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
As Christians, it's our calling to be faithful to Christ and obedient to the Great Commission. Our heart's desire and prayer to God is that through our efforts, many would receive and rest upon Christ alone as he is offered to them in the gospel. I'm David Strain, Senior Minister at First Presbyterian Church of Jackson, inviting you and your family to join us as we strive to fulfill that mission. We're located on North State Street in Jackson. Times of our services can be found at fpcjackson.org. You can also hear the good news about Jesus Christ each Sunday morning at 9:30 on 103.9 WYAB.
When it's time to get serious about work-ready equipment, come see me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. From rugged Big Tex trailers to durable CM and Legend X truck beds, H&H has what your truck needs to work harder and last longer. For the field, H&H carries reliable ag equipment from Salford, New Leader, and Chandler. Visit H&H Chief Sales in Carthage today or anytime at hhchiefsales.com. H&H, quality equipment, knowledgeable service, and solutions that work as hard as you do.
Need to ship something fast? Print something now or wrap the perfect gift? Head to the Mailroom Gluckstadt, your one-stop shop for all major shipping carriers. We pack and ship with care, offer private mailbox rentals, copy services, create and print banners, print your photos, lamination, binding, and secure document shredding. We always have a notary available, and we do gift wrapping too. Head to the Mailroom Gluckstadt across from Callaway's or online at mailroomgluckstadt.com. Stop in today and get it all done in one place.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I'm going to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
Looking to make technology work for your business instead of the other way around? Visit brentech.ms today. From reliable network infrastructure and wireless internet to cloud or on-premise backups, Brentech has solutions that keep your business connected, secure, and running smoothly. Don't let tech headaches slow you down. Discover how Brentech can simplify and elevate your business at brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. Brentech, technology made easy.
Come together.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show. I'm, of course, Lindsey Beckham. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. 601-879-0002 is the number if you would like to call in. If you have any comments, anything you would like to talk about on the show today, 601-879-4648 is our text line. So like we were talking about, former Representative Nick Bain and I, and big thanks to him for coming in today. I always tell him, let me know when you're in town. And if there's not already plans for somebody to be on, come in and sit down and talk to us about what's going on, because I know he has a good understanding of the way that things work. Being an attorney and having spent so many years in the legislature, and also kind of being a consultant for many different groups, I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders, and I value his opinion. I actually really am very thankful for the things that he worked on while he was in the legislature that I was passionate about. But the PBM reform is the hot topic right now. It is the thing everybody's angry about. I'm already seeing Facebook fights, wars between people who have differing opinions, and that's okay. It's okay to disagree. But I think the most important thing is that our legislators look at the big picture and do what's best for Mississippians as a whole. And I'm not even going to lie and tell you that I completely understand this PBM reform and what that means and what these big organizations actually take away from our smaller hometown pharmacies. I feel for the ones who are local, the mom and pop pharmacies that do know all of the local customers by name and who do truly care about the people who are coming in and getting their medicine. But as we talked about, there was a statement from the White House. It is real. There's been some talk of whether or not it was genuine, but it has been confirmed that it is a real document or a real statement from the White House on House Bill 1665, which the Senate passed with the amendment last Thursday. So they said, thanks to President Trump, the days of big pharma price gouging are over. Leveraging the full weight and power of the United States of America, the president has ensured Americans will get access to the lowest prices on prescription medications in the world. The Mississippi Senate amended version HB 1665 could complicate the president's policy and priority of providing access to the lowest prices on prescription medications for every American. Part of the amended portion of the bill could threaten access to discounts provided through TrumpRx.gov Therefore, the White House Offices of Domestic Policy and Intergovernmental Affairs writes to encourage the Mississippi House not to concur with HB 1665 as amended by the Senate and instead remove the provisions that risk undermining key administration priorities, particularly those related to expanding access to affordable prescription medications through the TrumpRx.gov initiative. And this was sent by the Deputy Assistant to the President and the Director of White House Intergovernmental Affairs, and then also the Special Assistant to the President Domestic Policy Council, Alex Meyer and Theo Merkel. So evidently, the White House is not in favor, Trump's administration is not in favor of what the Senate did with the PBM reform bill, the amendments that were made by Senator Parks. They do not believe that those should be a part of the bill. We did have someone from the organization SIP, what is it? Mississippi for PBM Reform, the SIP, Mississippi for PBM Reform, the board, call in last week. We had Chad McMahon, and then Michael called in, and he is definitely for the amendments made by the Senate. These hometown, small town, local pharmacists are definitely in favor of the amendments that the Senate made to this bill. And so it's just that's the controversial, the hottest topic I think at the Capitol this week is what's going to come of that. Will they go back to the original House bill language? Will one side just kill it completely? Will it go to conference and not come out? Or will they sit down and try to work together and come to some sort of agreement? Again, we haven't seen much of that happening this session, so it's kind of up in the air at this point. I'm excited to see whether or not we'll end up in a special session. That to me is got my interest, of course. But we got to take our last break. We did run over a good bit in that second segment because I wanted Nick to be on as long as he could before he had to leave. But y'all stay with us. We will be right back here to wrap up things on this Wednesday afternoon here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios on the Lindsey Beckham Show. We'll be right back. Of Mississippi Studios on the Lindsey Beckham Show. We'll be right back.
1039 WYAB.
Hey, Central Mississippi, it's Big Pop inviting you to Mississippi's biggest and best gun shows. Big Pop Gun Shows will be at the Clyde News Center March 21st, 22nd in Pearl, Mississippi. Saturday hours 9 to 5, Sunday hours 10 to 5. There'll be plenty of buying, selling, trading, gun appraisals, over 250 tables of merchandise to see. The largest vendors around to see. Y'all come and let's have a great weekend at the Pearl Gun Show March 21st, 22nd at the Clyde News Center. And don't forget to register for two $20 gift certificates to be given away every hour. Go to www.bigpopgunshows for more info.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness of Mississippi. At Women's Wellness of Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness of Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Need a new car? Then march right over to Mazda of Jackson and spring in the savings. Get 1.9% financing for 63 months on all 2025 CX-5s, 2026 CX-90s, CX-50s, CX-70s, and Mazda 3s with approved credit. And get 1-year maintenance included on your new vehicle purchase. Don't wait another minute to experience Mazda's exhilarating performance, top-notch safety, and reliability. So get to Mazda of Jackson today, where pre-owned vehicles and hassle-free trade-in options are also available. Shop online or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
At Bank of Yazoo, we believe that common sense makes for better banking. That's why we've taken our array of checking accounts and simplified them for you, boiling down features and benefits to create our New You, Achieve You, Benefit You, and Protect You checking accounts. Ready to discover how simple is better? Talk with us today. Bank of Yazoo. Bank of you. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Grizz Nation, lace up your boots and get in the ring for Wrestling Night at FedEx Forum as your Memphis Grizzlies host the Boston Celtics on Friday, March 20th at 7 p.m. Tip off the weekend with a primetime matchup in Memphis. Arrive early as the first 5,000 fans through the doors at 6 p.m. receive Grizz sunglasses. Get the best seats today at grizzlies.com/tickets or at the FedEx Forum box office in Memphis.
When you feel like your business is drowning in paperwork and compliance issues, it's time to call Peoplease. Let Peoplease take care of the busy work so that you can save valuable time and focus on what really matters, growing your business. Peoplease is based in Ridgeland, so you're always dealing with local professionals who will actually understand your business and its needs. Join thousands of satisfied clients who trust Peoplease to simplify their employee administration. Visit peoplease.com. That's peoplease.com to learn more.
The 19th Annual Township Jazz Festival is Saturday, April 11th in Ridgeland. 8 hours of live jazz, headlined by Grammy winner Nestor Torres. Also featuring the Tropicals from New Orleans, along with local favorites like the Vamps, Southern Comfort, the JSU Jazz Band, and much more. And admission still free. That's the Township Jazz Festival on Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Visit townshipjazzfestival.com.
Come together.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We have just a few minutes remaining. Again, thankful for Nick Bain taking the time to come by and talk with us today. And also, again, I know that everybody's probably so sick of hearing school choice, but it seems as though it is cranking back up as an issue with the governor saying that he is definitely considering a special session, possibly a special session within a session, or even calling one right after session ends. And, there are a lot of our or some of our legislators in the state house that are planning to run for a statewide office in this next big election. And if they are sitting in Jackson at the Capitol for a special session, they cannot be out there talking to people and getting their name out there, visiting places and politicking. And of course, their opponents can. So I think that's something that could be a deal breaker in the way that some of these people vote if there are special sessions called. There again, I was telling you guys about this event that was just released early this morning. It is being put on by Merge Mississippi. It's a group that I think they have a podcast, and they're out there just advocating for the things that they believe we need to see happen here in Mississippi. But they have got this panel, or actually two panels that are going to debate school choice. There's a panel of people who are in favor of school choice. It will be made up of Representative Jansen Owen, Leah Ferretti, Russ Latino, Gerard Gibbert, and myself. And then there will be 5 people on a panel opposing school choice. And those people will be Representative Fred Shanks, Nancy Loom, of course, of the Anti-Parents Campaign, Darren Spann, who's over the Mississippi Association of Educators, Jamie Creel, who is insurance agent right here in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. I think he was on with Clay this morning. And then Mariel Long, who's a former educator and a parent. And I think if you really want to know what the truth is on this issue, you need to be there. Be there. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll see you then. Bye.